Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tutor Ayodele. So today we are going to be drawing the orthographic view of this drawing. Now I just want you to pay attention because you are going to be learning a lot of things today. Now let us take a look at this isometric drawing. Now this is a 3D drawing as we know of it, and this is the point we are viewing this object from. We are viewing it from this place. So when you see a drawing with a arrow at a side, the arrow is either on this side or on this side. So you should know that you are viewing it from this point. So the point the arrow points at is your front view. Take that. The point the arrow points at is your front view. The other side is your side view. So that is two views. Now the third side we consider in orthographic drawing is the top view. So we have front view, side view, and top view. And that top view, you are viewing it just as if you come upward at this side, just as your left hand side. Let's just call it our left hand side. So as if you go above the drawing, then look at it directly downwards. Now just follow me even as we begin this orthographic drawing. First of all, we are going to draw our projection lines, and that will consist of a horizontal line, a thick horizontal line, then a vertical line, Now, even as we've drawn this line perpendicular to each other, we are going to take a distance of 10 millimeters at this line, 10 millimeters upward and 10 millimeters downward. So I'll just mark 10 millimeters upward, 10 millimeters downward on this side. Another one, 10 millimeters upward, 10 millimeters downward. Then for the vertical line, we are going to take 10 millimeters left ways and 10 millimeters right ways. For the top part, 10 millimeters left, 10 millimeters right. Okay, so the reason we are taking this line is just as construction lines. These points I just took, they are just construction lines. So we are going to use them as our construction lines for this drawing. This will be our construction lines. So just follow suit. So I'll take the one for the down part and also for the top part. Now we are good to go to begin our drawing, even as we've taken. Okay, I just want to make this middle line more bold so that you know the difference between construction lines and the main line. So take note of that this middle line is always bold than the construction line. These ones are usually bold than these ones. All right, so now we begin our drawing. We begin our drawing right away. I just want to make this longer. We begin our drawing right away. Now, when we view from this point, we can, as I said earlier, this is our front view. And on orthographic drawing, as we know it, this is our first angle. First angle drawing. Now, when you view from this point, your front will be considered to be at this side of the orthographic projection. So that is, we are going to draw our front view first. And our front view is going to be at the left-hand side because it is on the left-hand side of the isometric drawing. Now, when we take a look at our drawing here, we can see that a distance from this point, let's consider this as our origin. This origin, I can replicate it as this point here. Please take note. This origin, I replicate it as a point here that joins together two construction lines. Take note, it's not the main line, construction line that joins two construction lines. So this point, I replicate it as this point. Now, from this origin to a point towards the left, it is 60 millimeters. Towards the left is 60 millimeters. So first of all, let's take that down. 60 millimeters. So this is my origin, and I take 60 millimeters, which is 6 centimeters. I take it, I just mark it first. Just follow me. Now, the second thing we are going to note is that from this origin, which is this place, upwards. Now, take a look at this. From this place upward, of course, we know this is where it stops. But if you imagine it when you view from this place, this is not actually where it stops. it stops at the topmost of the drawing, at the topmost of the drawing. So to make it more understandable, let's take it from this place, from the other side, which is this side, from this side. Now, when you take a look at it, this side upward, you are going to see that there is a distance of 40 millimeters plus another distance of 20 millimeters. A distance of 40 millimeters. Then when you are still viewing from this side, so you are not going to see all this. You are just going to see this distance and this distance. So there's a distance of 40 millimeters plus 20 millimeters. Now 40 plus 20, of course, that's 60 millimeters. So we are going to take a distance of 60 millimeters upwards from here upward. That is from here upward. And with that, we can use our set square. We can use our set square from our point which we've taken earlier for 60 millimeters. From our point which we've taken earlier for 60 millimeters. So we'll take it. Then I draw it upward 60 millimeters. I take 60 millimeters. I stop at 60 millimeters. Now, as I've taken this line, put in mind that I've drawn the total line, that is 40 plus 20. Now, the next thing for us to do is to consider that there is a height here. Just as I explained earlier, there's a height here. But what is the length of this height? That is from the origin upward. And this is our origin. What is the length? We can see that it is synonymous to this. So that is 20 millimeters. So we are going to take 20 millimeters from our origin. So from our origin, I'll just take my ruler. Measure 20 millimeters. And this is my 20 millimeters. I mark it, then I thicken it. Why am I thickening it? Because it is a block. It is a thick block. When we view from this point, this is a thick thing we can see. Consider we can see this L shape when we view from this thing. See this L shape, then we can see every other thing here. But we can't view these ones because these are sideways. Now, we thicken it. Now, the next thing for us to do is to take the complete rectangle of this drawing. You know, as we've been taking this drawing, we have been drawing incomplete drawings. We've taken this line, taken this line, taken this line. Now, let's consider it. Of course, it is not a complete rectangle when we view it from this side. But let's consider it as a complete rectangle. But we are not thickening the lines. We'll take everything as construction lines. Then we block out the place we can see. The places we can see. Now, to complete the rectangle, of course, we just have to connect the topmost part to this other part. We'll do that with our T-square. And there's another additional thing for you to know. Just watch it. I will extend this construction line to this other part. I will extend it to this other part for a reason. I'll let you know the reason just as we continue the drawing. We are extending this construction line to the other part of this drawing, that is this right-hand side of this drawing. Now, of course, we've completed a rectangle. Of course, we are not seeing a rectangle where we view from here. So just follow suit. The next thing for us to do is to measure a distance that goes from this top of, from the 40 millimeter mark right ways, from the 40 millimeter mark right ways. Of course, this L shape, as I mentioned earlier, we can see it. So we should mark out this L shape to the extent we can see an L shape here. Now, of course, from the 40 millimeters, we'll take a distance. And what is that distance? Of course, there's no measurement here, but we can replicate it as a distance of 20 millimeters here. Of 20 millimeters here. Now, we first take our 40 to know where to start from. This is our 40. Now, after taking our 40, which is this, okay, now we take our line, the horizontal line, of course, this line measured earlier, which is 20 millimeters. We take it towards the right. But you should consider that since we are drawing this line, we are going to thicken what we can see. But for drawing purposes, we will just take the full line, first of all. Then we will thicken the rest part, which is this one we can see. We thicken only the ones we can see. The other ones will be construction line. So we've marked our 20. We will take it. Now the next thing for us to do, if we as far as we are viewing from here, you can see a thick another line that goes down and then which completes the L shape, right? Now that tells you we have to draw a line that goes downwards from this line we've already taken, a line that goes downward. Now to take our line that goes downward, we don't know the length of the line, but we can deduce that from this 40 mark we've taken earlier, this 40 measurement, since we have 40 here and there is a 20 here, this is 40, this is 20. If you minus 20 from 40, of course we have 20 left. So we know that it is 20 millimeters that will go downwards, 20 millimeters downward. Now we take our line, which is 20 millimeters. We are going to measure it 20 millimeters, but if the line is more than 20, that will be a construction line. So we just take a construction line first in totality of everything. Take a construction line, make sure you extend it to the next section. Extend it to the next section. Now after drawing our construction line, we take the 20 millimeters, we thicken out 20 millimeters. These are 20 millimeters. Now don't forget, we've already measured a 20 millimeters earlier from the origin upward. So now we are going to draw a line. We should not forget that we've drawn a line from the origin upwards. Just take note, from this place upward, which is from here to here. We've taken it here already. So we are going to connect this line we just drew, which is this one. We are going to connect it to the line we drew upward. So you just draw a straight line. You can use your T-square or your ruler. So now we connect the two lines together. We first take a construction line. Take a construction line first of all. Don't forget to extend it to the other part. Then you thicken the ones that can show when you view from this part. Of course, this place will be very, very visible. Very, very visible. Now we can see our drawing is already taking shape. It's already taking shape. Now we should note that there is a diagonal line that goes downward. Now just let me illustrate something for you quickly. As I said earlier, we are viewing from this point. Now imagine, just imagine that you shift this whole image here, you shift it forward. Just know that you won't see anything here and this thing. So since you are shifting it forward, you will see a line going upward, then continuously just with this line. Then the next thing you will see, since this thing is forward here, you will see this line just here. Then you see the diagonal going downwards, then completed by this line, which I called the origin area. So to take our diagonal line, we have measured a line upwards. We have measured a line upwards, which is 20 millimeters. Let's check that. 20 millimeters. This is the line, and this is where it stops. Now, from that line, we will just draw it downward towards this side, which is replicated as this side. Imagine you shift this thing forward, it is replicated as this side. That is this line coming just straight downward to the top of the block, this 20 millimeters block. This is our diagonal. Just thicken it straight up. Then we can thicken the top, which we've called earlier. We can thicken the top just to make our drawing more visible. All right, so now let's thicken this other part. Of course, this 40 millimeters plus 20 millimeters. We thicken it because we can see it from that angle. And of course, we thicken the base, which is clearly visible also. Now just examine with me, what other part have we not thickened? Of course, there's no other part we've not thickened. This is our L shape described earlier. And this is the other part. Now, the next step of our drawing is that we should draw our side view. Of course, I said earlier, our front view, as described earlier, will be at this place. Then our side view will be beside the front view. Then our top view will be under the front view. Top view. Now, for our side view, the reason for these lines we extended earlier is for construction sake, so that to make it easy for us to take some readings. This is the side view now. This was the front view. Now this is the side view. Just the method we used earlier. Imagine you shift this little block here, just shift it forward. What you will see is this base here, then this block just at the front here, then this diagonal line. That is all you will see. But we have to take the full frame of the drawing. Now, the reason for this line, we already know the height of the drawing. We don't have to take a measurement above. That is the reason for the extension of this line. Now, the first thing for us to take is our 60 millimeters. For this side, this is our origin, which is this place. This is our origin. Then we take a distance of 60 millimeters to the right. We use our ruler, just sticking 60 millimeters to the right. 60 millimeters. Then the next thing for us to do is to project a line upwards. When you are viewing from this place, you will see a line just going upward. This diagonal line will not appear diagonal when you view it from the side view. It will not appear diagonal. It will appear as a straight line, as a vertical line. So we are going to just draw the full vertical line, which is 20 millimeters plus 40 plus 20. But I said earlier, we don't need to take all those measurements because of this line we have upward here. So you just draw from this 60, just draw it upwards till it meets this line. And we can use our set square to do that. We can use our set square to do that. So we've taken our vertical line upwards, and I want you to also extend the line. Now we've taken our line upwards. I also want you to extend this line, which we've taken, extend it downwards as a construction line. Just extend it downward. This one is just for another construction sake. Now, our side view is already taking shape. The next thing we can see from our side view, imagine this thing is shifted up forward, is that there is a line that goes upward from the origin, and this is our origin, that goes upward from the origin to a point. We don't have to measure that point because of this line we've drawn earlier, which is extended from this line. So we'll just stick in this line from our origin, which is this point, replicated at this point, just connect it upward to this line. Now, the next thing for us to do, when we view from this part, we see another line, which is this line, Of course, we don't have to take the measurement, but we're just sticking it upward to another line we can see, which is this line. You can see the reason why we should extend our lines, which we have been drawing from our front view. We take another thick line. But you should know that that line does not extend upward. Why? Because when you shift this thing upward, it does not go from the origin to the topmost part, because this one it stops here. It does not go from the origin, the topmost part, because it stops just 20 millimeters before the top. So let's check that. So this is 20 millimeters before the top. So we are not going to thicken anything here. So what then is our distance from this point to this point? 60 millimeters. From this point to this point, we don't know it. The next thing for us to do is to draw a line that is going from this point to the end. Of course, when we are viewing from here, we see a thick line, just a perfectly thick line from this end to this end. So we are not taking any measurements. We're just taking the full line. So to take our 40 millimeters, we take it not from this part, but from this part. So is this line we are using? We take our 40 millimeters. This is my 40 mark. Then I thicken it up till I get to 40. Now the next thing for us to do is to draw a straight line, this vertical, this diagonal lines. But of course, I said we will not see a diagonal line when we view from this point. So to take our diagonal line, which is a vertical line when viewing from the side view, we should measure a distance of 20 millimeters on the bottommost block. This is our bottommost block here. So let's just take a distance. So let's just take a distance of 20 millimeters from the end, which is this part, 20 millimeters towards the left. This is my 20 millimeters. I just mark it, just mark it. Then the next thing for you to do is just draw the line upwards from this place. You are drawing it upwards from this place. So we can use our set square to do that. First, take a construction line. Construction line. Then if you note with me, the only part you can see is the one that goes from the top of the bottommost block, from the top just up ahead till the end of the block. From the top of the bottommost block up to the end. So we're taking that part out. And of course, we can see a line here. When viewed from this place, we can see a line here that connects the two diagonal lines, which are vertical lines when we view from this part. And these are the two lines. So we just connect them above. Now you can agree with me that there is no other part we can see when viewing from this place. We have actually completed the side view. Now the next thing for us to do is our top view. Now when viewing from the top, as I said earlier, you are viewing from you go to the front view, then just as if you go just above it, directly above it, then view downwards. Directly above it, then view downwards. Now if you view downwards, you will be able to see this. Now, just as I've been explaining earlier, imagine that this bottom here is shifted just above so that everything is on the same plane. So this will be on the same plane with this. That is, this one will be shifted above. This also will be on the same plane with this. So just imagine with me. You will be able to see this surface, and this whole surface. Now, to do those surfaces, just follow suit. The first thing for us to do, let's project our lines which we have drawn from our front view. Let's project them downwards to help us with our drawing. The first thing for us to do is that we should calculate the total length of the line. We don't need to calculate that because we have already projected this line. So the first thing for us to do, let's just draw a rectangle first. When you draw a rectangle, you will know what else to do. So just complete a rectangle, which is the surface I've replicated. This surface, this surface, this surface, this surface. By just adding everything together, I want to draw a rectangle first. Then we begin to section out, we begin to carve out other surfaces we can see inside. So for our rectangle, the dimensions, of course, is actually a square because it's 60 by 60. So this 60 I want to draw now is this length. See, we've taken it earlier, it's 60. I just thicken it out. Then by the side, on the left and on the right, of course, what I said, we are viewing from the fourth view directly above. This is the left side and this is the right side. So on the left side, it is 60. On the right side, it is 60. So we take 60 millimeters on the left, then we thicken it. We take 60 millimeters on the right, then we thicken it. Then we can just connect the two to make our bottom, which is this part. Still a thick line, but you can continue it with a construction line to the other section. Now we can see our square is complete. Now we can begin to section out the things we can see, the surfaces we can see. The first surface I would like to draw is this one. Of course, we are viewing from the front view, but directly above because it's the top view. Front view, but directly above. Now, this left side we've described earlier. This is your left-hand side. So this left side is replicated as this. Now, this left side you are seeing, we can see a line from our front view that projects downward. This line, if you are confused why you are seeing a line here, you should know that there is a line that is being connected just with everything here. There's a line that is being connected, which is this line plus this line. Of course, I said everything is on the same plane. So this line plus this line here is actually this line. These two lines, they are actually this line. So how can we know where it stops to take our line here? How can we know where it stops? Now, the first thing you need to do is take your 20 millimeters, which is on the left-hand side of the drawing. 20 millimeters block. We take our 20 millimeters. We mark it, just mark it. Then on the other side, take 20 millimeters because this thing is just straight. Of course, this diagonal line, you will see it as straight. You will see it as a horizontal line, not a diagonal line. So you take this 20 millimeters distance on each side, on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So I've taken on the left, then on the right, I take it. Then I connect the two lines, first of all with my construction line, extend it to the other part, then with my thick line. Now, the reason you are drawing your thick line, this thing we just drew is this part above we can see. Of course, it's not sliding down, but we imagine everything on the same plane. When it's on the same plane, we can see everything just on a straight line. And just if if you are viewing from the top, that is front view from the top, this will be ahead of you. So this is your head, and this will be just closer to you. But we've not taken that yet. So the next thing for us to do is to thicken this line. When you view from this part, you can see this shape, then another shape. Now we've taken the first shape, then you can know that there will be another shape that goes just closer to you, just towards you. When you are viewing from that point, it's coming towards you. Now, to thicken out that point, we don't have to mark any point. We just take from where the line comes from to the end of the drawing, not extended. To the end of the drawing, you just thicken that part. Of course, we are not drawing inside this surface. Okay, we are going to complete it inside the surface. Inside the surface. The reason being that this line will be visible and this line will be visible. So it's taken as one line, right? It's taken as one line. Now, there is nothing we can actually see from the front anymore. We have completed the drawing. This side, this surface, this is the same surface. This surface here, this is the same surface. Then this surface, this is the same surface here. Then this large surface, of course, we can see that is the same surface here. So let's just thicken our drawing. Just the parts we can see, we'll just thicken it out. Now, to complete our drawing, I just want to illustrate something to determine maybe your drawing was actually accurate or you had some errors. Now, from this other last part, of course, we are not projecting anything here, but from this other last part, you can just draw. Let me just quickly make this line visible for you to see. These are construction lines. Now, all these construction lines, they should make a very precise angle that they meet. Points that meet each other. From these points we drew earlier, there are points that should meet each other. So I'll count 1, 2, 3. So there are actually 3 points that meet each other, which are the corners. These are corners of the drawing. So there is a corner here, there's a corner here. If it meets each other, that can show that your drawing was actually accurate. So use a construction line just to draw it. And then we have actually completed our drawing. All right, the next thing for us to do is dimensioning our drawing. And to dimension your drawing, you don't have to really make your work very rough with dimensions everywhere. You just have to pick out specific parts to dimension your drawing. Now, we have to dimension the base of the drawing. All right, so these are the dimensions of the drawing. Make sure to put dimension always in your drawing. So thank you for watching till the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share to your friends if you find this video helpful. Thank you very much. See you next time.